So, first of all, let me thank all the participants for being here for this session. I am really excited to talk to you about my journey and the overall picture of energy efficiency in India. So, just to give you a quick uh, overview about what is happening, everybody knows about the climate change, and it's not just us, even the world leaders and big organizations such as World Bank have made their priority to do something about climate change. And now there are initiatives from UN running the Paris Agreement. You would
Sorry
see
to
a
interrupt,
clock in the
Goli.
Times Square.
Sorry. Can
Yeah,
you just full screen it so we can get the whole picture? Is that okay?
sure, sure.
Yes.
Right.
Thank
Is it
you.
proper now?
Yes. Thank you.
Great, great. So yeah, as I was saying, there are multiple initiatives going across the world. There is leaders taking policy changes. There are industry picking up the sustainability, the CSR or the ESG component, and there are new and new startups coming in. The awareness is increasing day by day, but it is a little bit unfortunate to say that the goals that we have set for ourselves, we are still not meeting those. Means we if we had to restrict our global warming to 1.5 degrees, I think the next 5 to 7 years are absolutely critical, in which we have to reach towards net zero emissions so that that temperature increase can stabilize. And in that, renewables are playing a big part, but our approach has to be where we first optimize and reduce our consumption by increasing our efficiency and then try to supplement it by renewables, because even 100% renewables is not the solution. There is a life cycle cost associated to it, and renewables are uncertain. So 100% renewables will never be possible. You'll need supplementary stable solutions like nuclear or coal or even uh, hydro in some cases to supplement the renewables like solar and wind. So, in all this context, energy efficiency becomes very important. So, if you look at the electricity use breakup of India, you can see that roughly 24% of electricity gets used in residential buildings, while commercial also completely 9% of energy is being used in buildings. And out of this 42% which is there in industrial, there is another 12-13% which gets used just for industrial buildings like warehouses or even factory buildings, not the industrial processes. So in our overall electricity share, our building energy use in itself is 43%. So it's a very huge chunk which is contributing to global warming, global emissions. And what we have to look at, the thing is that it is at the lowest or one of the lowest in India. Our per capita energy use is one of the lowest. We are still a developing country. So with increase in home energy consumption, improving living standards, the development we are seeing, this number is going to increase and suddenly shoot up. And over the next few years or the next decade or so, India could actually become a major contributor in terms of adding to the GHG emissions because of the development path we are on. And hence, it is of utmost important that we course correct right now so that our way of living does not become a problem for our future generations. And fortunately, with the advancement of technologies, the technologies that are available in the energy efficiency domain, it is actually possible. It's just about the awareness gap or the information gap that we actually have to bridge. So there is definitely huge need as well as potential for energy savings in the current world. If I talk a little bit about the opportunity lost, we are roughly wasting $10 billion worth of electricity every year. And this number, which I've considered here, 20 to 25% wastage, it is actually on the lower side. If you talk to green building experts or even read about IGBC ratings, Griha ratings, LEED ratings, you get platinum ratings if your energy performance index is 50, 60% lower than the normal energy consumption. and then that remaining 30 and 40% is supplemented by solar or wind, uh, etc. So even if we forget for a moment about climate change, if we just treat it as a financial opportunity for investors, for industrialists, for new startups to create a market, this is the opportunity or the market that we are talking about. And with these savings, there could be a lot of business models which can run on or built on this. So now we know the urgency of the solution that is required. We know what is the potential. Then why there is gaps in the market? Why don't we see every other building or every other solution following the energy efficiency norms, or even knowing what to do on the energy efficiency front? So here I've tried to summarize what are the current solutions available in the market who tackle energy efficiency and which markets do they serve. So one we know is the energy auditing industry. It's a legacy industry, has been there for around 50 years now, and slowly the impact is increasing. But the growth of this industry has been very linear and very limited to large scale buildings or industrial buildings, and not even buildings. Even in industries, the focus is primarily on industrial processes. And there are a few reasons for it. First, it is a very manually intensive job. You need skilled labor, you need understanding of the data, you need understanding of the equipments. And for a country as big as India, we do not have this skilled manpower of energy auditing. Secondly, this process is a one time engagement. Whenever a new energy auditor comes in, he looks at the situation, they evaluate what can be done. But then again, it is not a continuous engagement. You do not get feedback, you do not get to see if you are if any changes are happening, how should we respond to it. There are certain regulations coming in which is trying to fix this problem, where big industries and big commercial buildings have to have their energy manager and auditor of their own. But these kind of buildings just have but these kind of buildings just contribute roughly 10% of our total building stock. Roughly 90%. 90% of the rest of the commercial buildings of small scale residential and industrial buildings do not have any solution available to them. The other solution which is available, which is typical IoT based energy management solutions, these are either again serving very high end buildings like hospitals or five-star hotels, or these are more of a fashion statement for the ultra rich. So, because of these issues, neither of these solutions have really penetrated in the market. And this is the number which signifies that even out of these 10%, roughly just 20% have some kind of solution available to them. Rest 98% of the buildings, they do not have any kind of solution available. And even if there are conventional solutions like building management solutions available, they focus more on building operation rather than energy optimization. Now, coming to, if I talk about the expectations from the user, that what do they expect of such kind of solutions or solution providers? Each of the industry segment or the building segment has their own needs. For example, if we start with the residential, given that India is still not a very literate country, not educated or aware in this section, any solution that comes up has to be supported by the government, has to be validated by third parties, agencies, and it is very easy and simple to understand in terms of finances. Means people here won't understand the complex ROCE calculations or even typical ROI. What they understand is how much electricity bill reduction they will get. Secondly, because the per capita energy consumption is lower in the residential segment, especially compared with the developed countries, if we talk about Europe and US, and India's air conditioning needs are also not very high as of now because of low standard of living. People really do not care about the energy cost component in the residential building as a problem. It contributes less than 5% of their disposable income. So they do not want to be bothered about it. Hence, they want something which is automatically driven. They do not have to take pain about it, and would like that wherever they're buying electricity from, if the initiatives are coming from them, they do not have to, I'm sorry, they do not have to get into hassles of deciding which vendor to pick, which product to pick. They would be more than happy to participate in DSM programs, etc., which are driven by the utilities themselves. Because of the low income group, our invest upfront investment expectation is again very lower, and the financing options are being looked at, which is actually missing right now in the energy efficiency industry. Few things have started to come up where big banks have started to finance projects with very big builders. They've started to give loans out of that, but for smaller buildings, even commercial, residential, nothing is available. And the final thing that people are expecting is regarding the transparency and the quality of the component that is being sold in the market. So here I would like to take one small example, that when we went into the market with solar rooftop product, this was one of the primary things that we realized. In my hometown, electricity rate, including the benefits that utility were providing, were touching to around 8.7 rupees per unit. And at that price of electricity, solar was a very viable solution even for small scale, 5 to 10 kilowatts. And we had large cotis, etc., which still were not adopting it. And the problem that we realized was that because the consumers were unaware, there were lots of products in the market, lots of vendors in the market who were just pitching anything. They would promise very high ROIs, and they will get the person to adopt the solar, not tell them about the maintenance parts, the effort that goes there. And when the yield drops, what happens is that in the residential community, the word of mouth is the is the thing that drive these sales. And that was not happening at all. Whoever had adopted solar in my rooftop, who adopted solar in my hometown, they told me that they would not recommend it to somebody else because of these issues. So hence standardization of products, validation, third party certifications to ensure the quality which is being flown in market is very important. And once this started happening, there would be a sudden shift or adopt in the rate adoption rate among the residential users. Commercial consumers, on the other hand, the expectation and everything is very different. Firstly, these building operators, etc., or even the ones who own their buildings and do use it for offices, they do not want to invest a lot of money in energy efficiency measures. Part of the reason is that because a lot of it is still unproven, and they don't see a lot of it being offered, so they have to take that leap of faith. Hence, almost everybody in the commercial sector requests for either a zero upfront cost, whether it is an OPEX model, or more prominently, a saving sharing model. So any energy service company, energy consultancy company, or even an IoT company approaches these clients, they tell them that we are happy to engage with you. You come to our buildings, work with us, deploy your solution. If you save some money, we will give you a part of it. This is the expectation that everybody has, especially in India, which is quite stark from what we see in the European nations or the even US, where these solutions are proven, backed by government, and readily accepted as a commodity product by these buildings. In India, now the solution providers and everyone, and even the consumers, face this issue, that if you're talking about energy efficiency and energy savings, you have to establish a baseline, that what is the basic energy use which happens on a day-to-day basis. You are going to try and save something on top of it. So how do we establish this that baseline? How do we factor in the variable components like weather, seasonality, operating schedules, number of users in the building? And even if somehow we are able to establish a baseline, get data for 2 3 months, once these solutions are deployed, validation is also a challenge. And this becomes a non-ending cycle where developer proposes something, customer sees some part of it, and then complains to the developer, and hence does not, if it is not being fulfilled or there are any doubts, what happens is that they don't end up taking the solution to their other buildings or recommending to other users. So these are of one of the biggest issues that why energy efficiency is not being penetrated in the commercial market. Other areas which we have to look at is the business comfort or the customer business processes or the customer comfort cannot be compromised. Energy saving efficiency has to work within those constraints. Service support has to be impeccable, and then the payback period expectation also change. Means I have seen people adopting something for 1 or 2 years with a payback period of 1 or 2 years, and I have seen people expecting 6 months or even 9 months payback period. That anything beyond this they won't expect. So this expectation in the market is also quite high because they also understand the risks. Once I think if the product becomes proven in the market, this expectation will become lower. Thirdly, if we come to the industrial sector, the outlook is very different. The chart which I showed you, which mentioned that almost 42% of electricity is being used in the industrial sector, almost 75% of the contribution comes for machine usage or the processes. Building only contributes 20 to 25. So each and every industrialist's first focus is always optimization of those processes. So everybody expects that only one person should work with them on the energy front, and that same person should be able to optimize the processes as well as the in general building energy efficiency. And because the processes are coming into the picture, their requirement is highly specific customized solution. The only thing that they expect is that the ease of operation has to be there because everything there on ground is managed by blue collar workers. But given electricity forms a big chunk of their input cost, they are willing to invest in capex if there is a proven use case for it. So these are the expectations or how the market works in different sectors. Now let's go on to see over the past 4 years what have we learned or studied from the market. First thing is that role of policies is very critical in shifting this behavior. European markets, which are very strong policy wise on the climate change front, are much more advanced in terms of adopting these measures. Now, even simple digitization solutions where tracking of electricity consumption is there, people readily are accepting, are going into the market to look for those solutions. And it has become a part of their standard MIS there. But in India, people do not understand the value of these. They do not value data. The only thing that they would understand is the cost benefit. Second thing is that we need low cost solutions to increase customer awareness. Now, what I personally believe is that in a country like India and which has such diverse backgrounds, such diverse businesses, and such a big market, anything which is very generic is bound to fail. So we need something which is backed by data, and hence we need to come up with solutions which make data capture a possibility at a much lower cost. It could be SaaS solutions or it could be very cheap hardware, easy to install, very less operation cost. But this is the need of the hour. Once these two solutions start coming into the picture, start penetrating in the market, you will see the adoption of higher technologies like power factor correction or appliance upgrade, five-star energy efficient appliances. The adoption there will start increasing. Another thing that we need in the industry is standardization and cross-platform integration. So what I mean from this is that there are around 100 odd players in the energy service companies. They collect their own data. There is no sharing of data, not even a functionality where previously collected client data can be utilized by someone else. There are so many different sensor manufacturers. There's so many protocols in the market that there is nothing standardized. They don't talk to each other. If you have to buy some platform or some solution from one person, you usually had to go with the solution of their own. that all the sensors and everything needed to be bought from them. Cross integration is a very big challenge in the current Indian market. But with the advancement in the IoT industry, these standards are rapidly changing. Growth is coming up. There is alignment within the industry to develop these standards and standardize it. The communication protocols are getting standards, and other countries have actually taken this lead to create open APIs as well, where electric utilities have started sharing data with solution providers. That data is always the property of consumers. If they want someone else accessing it, they can allow it. Couple more things which I would like to highlight is that electricity subsidies also need to be looked at in the Indian market. In the building sector, almost 50% of electricity is consumed in the residential buildings, which is highly subsidized in India. And because those are highly subsidized, people actually don't care about it because the cost is lower. It also makes it difficult for any new technology or any new capex investment to get justified there. And these kind of things would improve with possibly the privatization of electricity utilities, where they also start focusing on innovation, and the need of subsidies reduces. And lastly, we need our financial ecosystem to evolve around the energy efficiency industry, so that whoever who cannot afford these upfront costs or the risk of the solution providers get covered by those, so that more people start taking this leap of faith or start providing solutions. Now coming to what we have done in the market, so I gave you an idea about how customer thinks, what is the need and everything. How our product has evolved, I'll just try to give you a very quick sense. So we are trying to make a one-stop electrical asset management solution, where the first part that we are trying to do is making SaaS solution for capturing of secondary data and process. Let me take an example of this. There is hardly any solution available which enables people to keep a track of their electricity bills, the trend that it follows year on year, how does it change, or even just being able to record their meter readings. It's not possible. Maintenance plays a very big part in electricity consumption, so there also we need standard softwares, and we need softwares which can talk to each other. For example, if you're tracking your electricity bill and you see that one of the appliance was not maintained properly, you should be able to see a correlation between the two, that one is leading to the another. So this is a very basic requirement which will get the interest of the customer peaked. This is very low cost, and hence we are starting with this. This gives us a foot through the door to the customer. Then comes the appliance level monitoring part, and this is sort of where we are making our USP. So typically, when you have to monitor one appliance, you have to have a sub meter or a sensor associated with it. We are working with a technology where using one hardware, we can track up to 10 individual appliances. So this is something groundbreaking, which is reducing the cost of energy monitoring by 70-80%. And because we are able to capture this appliance level data at much lower cost, we are using that data to provide energy analytics and predictive alerts to consumers. Now, if you see these first three parts of the product, these in itself should be able to give 10 to 15% savings to customers, while they come at a minimal cost. And because the hardware involvement is very low, doing capex model or even profit sharing or saving sharing, all these models are possible in this very easily, without the need of much financing from external resources. And then coming to our future vision, we actually think that data is going to drive everything, and we want to make an integrated platform where multiple solution providers can pitch their products to the customer, and we become the data owner or the consultant from customer side, and all of this process is automated. So our solution or the platform will act as a role of virtual energy auditor, few devices sitting in the customer's building, guiding them as to where they are consuming energy, why they're consuming that energy, how to fix it. And then our platform will connect people to vendors and service providers, who can give the best solution for achieving those benefits. And finally, our platform, because we have access to the data and we have devices, we want to be able to connect to other hardware providers as well, so that the data standardization is there. Our algorithms analytics should be able to work on any independent monitoring hardware and control, which will make everything very integrable. So the way we have envisioned our product, we have kept it into different modules which consumer can adopt in their energy efficiency journey, but they integrate together to make it complete and to make it easier. And a proponent from the consumer's end, that consumer should not think that I'm trying to sell it to them. What I'm trying to do is that I am virtually giving advisory to consumers that if this is your electricity budget, how can you reduce it by 30%? And I will help them make sure that they achieve it. This is a very brief overview about the technology. The technology that we are working with is called non-intrusive load monitoring. So instead of putting sensors on each and every appliance, we put one high frequency energy meter at circuit level, which contains up to 10 different appliances. And then we send this high frequency data to our cloud, where our algorithms break down the overall appliance level usage into individual appliance level usage. Let me give you an example of how we are able to do this. Let's say a circuit, which is very simple residential circuit, has a refrigerator, a washing machine, a geyser, and an AC. Each of these equipments is a unique blend of electrical and mechanical components. And when they start and when they operate, or even when they shut down, they emit a unique signature, unique electrical signature. So what we are measuring here is just the summation of these unique signatures. And using time series analysis, what we are able to do is we are able to break down these overall signature into individual unique signature, the sum of which is again back to this. This is how the technology works, and because of this technology, we are able to give this energy monitoring the first or the second step in the energy efficiency part to consumers at roughly 70% cost. And finally, why are we doing this? I think this slide says it all. That if we are looking to target this number, and if we are to save this number, help customers save this number, it is equivalent to planting 150 million trees every year. That is motivation enough to keep us going for multiple years, and hopefully to motivate a lot more people like you to come and join us in this fight. So this is it from my end. I am happy to take questions from the audience now.
Hello, I have a question. My name is Yashwant.
Hi, yes,
So,
Yashwant.
hi Puneet. When you say that there is a signature generated by the appliance when it is
Yes.
consuming the electricity, so is it a user? I mean, is it type of an ID, or I mean, how to?
Not really
Yeah.
an ID. It is basically a trend. For example, when a compressor of an air conditioner starts, for a few
Okay.
seconds it consumes a very high current, and
Yeah.
then it stabilizes near its steady value. And what you see is that whenever a compressor turns on and off to maintain the temperature, you see this signature again and again and again. So we utilize machine learning to track this signature out of the total signature, and tag that this much energy consumption was contributed by the compressor of the air conditioning. And what we do is that once we have tagged these individual instances, we try and benchmark those. For example, if a compressor is not functioning properly, it may start to draw a very high amount of current, or even its average steady state current will start to increase, or the compressor duty cycle will change. So these factors, by benchmarking, we are able to identify, and then based on this, give recommendations to consumers.
Okay. And here we are considering that. I mean, the instrument is not working properly. If everything is working properly, we are not going to increase any. Uh, I mean, we are not going to decrease the consumption, right, of a domestic household. Is it?
Yes.
uh,
Yes. So, but there also what we do is that we do external benchmarking. For example, if somebody is using a two-star air conditioner, for a two-star air conditioner, it may be working fine, but there is a super efficient air conditioner available in the market. And if this customer is using it, say 15 hours a day to the office building, I would actually recommend him to upgrade his air conditioner, and the ROI will probably be 18 months.
Okay. One last question. How you will inform the customer regarding all this, like to change the appliance or need to increase this?
So we are building a mobile SaaS solution which integrates
Okay,
or
okay,
captures with our energy monitoring and everything on the control side we are going to provide there, so that on the go customer have insights and alerts available to them.
okay. And how much it cost? I mean, something around. I mean, for example, let's say for a normal village domestic household
So our
for
one
this
hardware
implement.
we actually work on uh, an OPEX model where we charge anyone who has roughly 50,000 worth of electricity bill, we charge them
Hmm,
1,000 rupees. And that includes the hardware cost, the analytics, and the SaaS solution.
okay. This
So
is
our
annual cost,
typical
right?
Yes, yes. So
Uh-huh.
typical model, we charge around 1 to 1.5% of your electricity bill, and the
Okay.
savings that we are able to see on ground is to the tune of 4 to 5%.
Okay.
It can up to go to 10% depending on how faulty the equipment is, or how if the processes are not being managed properly. But these numbers which I'm mentioning, they do not require any additional investment to achieve these savings. If their customer is willing to invest in control solutions or upgrading appliances, or getting a power factor correction solution, the estimated savings can go even up to 15-20% as well.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I think Anand, I would have already answered your question as to how much cost saving are we able to achieve on the ground. So anything else, any questions you guys have in mind regarding the energy efficiency industries? What are the trends? What kind of solutions are working? It need not be limited to the presentation. Anything related to the energy sides, energy efficiency buildings, you can discuss with me. Well, it
Uh,
seems like,
Hi.
yeah. Yes, Ashish, go on.
So I yeah. So thanks for the talk. I have one question. I would like to ask that what are the opportunities from people from non-energy background in the energy sector, and if there are opportunities, do we have to really get the domain knowledge of how much domain knowledge of energy sector or energy science would we would we need to tap those opportunities? Like suppose people from computer science or people from
Right.
operation research or any other field, non-energy field.
Sure, sure. So let me give you an example from my team itself. From my team, only I had the background in energy. Even my co-founder did not have the energy background or very detailed energy background. And all other team members are from various disciplines. Our data science team member is from chemical, who learned about data science and got the energy domain knowledge while working with us. On the software front, the SaaS solution which we are building, the hardware we are building, so hardware engineers, firmware engineers, they are from electrical background. Very limited electrical knowledge is required. So I believe when you are building a product, there is role for each and every kind of player to come in and do their part. Context helps, but a lot of that context can be availed while on the job. And if not, I think one or two basic courses around electricity, power use, and basic energy terms are sufficient to venture into it.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah. Now, I think there are a couple of questions in the chat which I will take. So, is energy efficiency for residential sector moving or taken up as service currently by the Indian consumers? Unfortunately, no. This is a trend in the European market or even in the US market where people have started to adopt solution or energy efficiency as a service solution as well. But for Indian residential consumers, as I mentioned, the cost of electricities are very much subsidized. They form a very small part of their disposable income. So any initiative or anything which is being run here is primarily driven by the utility, and there also the scale is very less. The demand side management programs come in, but they affect 1.5% of the consumers, not everyone. But with new electricity act coming in, the impact of Bureau of Energy Efficiency, which has revolutionized the space with their star labeling program, or even the role of EESL. They have not yet come into the residential space, but they are venturing there with the advent of smart meter. So these policy driven initiatives or government driven initiatives are taking charge at the moment in the residential sector. You said that there is platinum buildings like that. So can you tell more about this kind of classification? So, to give you a very brief idea, there are three rating agencies in India: IGBC, Indian Green Building Council; LEED, which is an American Building Certificate Agency; and there is GRIHA by TERI, the Energy Resource Institute. So, all three agencies certify your buildings based on their energy performance, sustainability, carbon footprint. There is a very detailed checklist of 75 points on various parameters which define whether you have what kind of rating do you get. And if you get a certain kind of rating or above it, there are certain advantages like increased FAR, or some utilities have started to give some kind of interested or rebate or subsidies on the electricity bill, which comes as a favor of customer adopting these more and more new sustainable technologies. Okay. How much is your company's yearly revenue? So again, our company is very new. So to tell a little bit about the company, we are just 8 full-time members in the team as of now. Before COVID or even till COVID, our main product development was happening. And I think from September onwards, only we have actively started to go into the market. And I'm fortunate to say that we are working with around 10 international clients in India and one in Europe, where we are testing our solution. So we haven't actually done a full-fledged product launch in the market yet. We are still in the beta stage. So I think we have covered up most of the questions. In the interest of time, I will hand over the session to the hosts now for closing remarks. It was really great to be able to come here and share about the energy efficiency and about what we are doing with all of you. Really engaging session here. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Puneet.